And as always, I'd like to remind you that I have placed a link in the description down below if you'd like to look at this dashcam further or acquire one for yourself. So with that being said, let's unbox this bad boy and let's see what's inside. Now this mirror dashcam happens to be of a new type of dashcams that are coming out of a different size. Most mirror dashcams are either 12 inches or 10 inches, what I call large or small. This mirror dashcam is advertised as being 11 inches. So this is a new generation of mirror dashcams that are going to fall into the medium size. And as we can see, this mirror dashcam is reflective like all mirror dashcams are, and that means that we're going to be able to turn the LCD panel off and be able to use this as a standard mirror, or turn the panel on and then we can use this as a digital mirror. And towards the bottom of the dashcam we have a single power button which allows us to turn the display on or off, and towards the top of the dashcam we have several inputs, and we have the power input in the form of a USB Type-C port. Then we have an input for the rear camera, and then we have the memory card slot. Now this dashcam supports a maximum of 128 gigabytes of memory, and they already include a 32 gigabyte memory, which is enough to get started and in my opinion is sufficient for most drivers. Then we have the input for the GPS. Now if we turn over the camera towards its back, we can see where the front camera is located. Now REDTIGER says that they're using Sony sensors over here, and as you can see we can slide this out if for some reason our mirror was very large and we need to clear that mirror. The front camera can also be further adjusted by moving this either to the left, to the right, top or bottom, just to get us a really good view of the road. And in case you're curious to see what the front looks like when I slide the camera out, as you can see they have covered this area so there's nothing exposed. In fact, it has a nice texture to it. But now let's talk about how this dashcam is going to be mounted, and for that I'm going to take a look at the accessories. Nice. And as you can see we have two pairs of straps. Looks like they included a large one and a small one. Let me show you how that works. And to secure the mirror dashcam to the original mirror of my vehicle, I'm going to place the new LCD dashcam on top of the original mirror. Then I can use the silicone strap to secure it. And I'm going to put one strap on one side, then I'm going to put the second strap on the other side, effectively mounting the mirror and hiding the original mirror from view. But now let's look at the rest of the accessories. As you can see, first off we got a GPS antenna, and that allows the mirror dashcam to record the coordinates of where we are located or where the accident took place, and also the speed of the vehicle. Now the GPS antenna is typically placed on the dash of the car, and it has double-sided tape. If we wanted to, we can peel that and stick that to the dash so it doesn't move or rattle around. And now let's take a look at the power adapter for the mirror dashcam, and that is in the form of the cigarette lighter adapter plug with that USB-C type connector. And in case you're curious about the length of this cable, it is roughly about 11 feet. Next up, let's look at the rear camera, and they include quite a bit of cable length in here, roughly about 21 feet of length. And as you can see, this end is going to go to the dash cam, and the other end has the camera for the outside or inside of the vehicle. And this has some weight to it. This is not plastic, this is solid metal, which is pretty neat. Also the finish is very elegant. Now the rear camera is waterproof, so it could be positioned outside of the vehicle, typically by the license plate area, or it could be positioned inside of the vehicle by the rear windshield with the double-sided tape that they included. And you can see how massive the view is. However, if we did not want to use this as an LCD mirror, we can click it off and the screen turns off, but it continues recording. This is what I call stealth mode. I'm going to click this back on, and as we can see, we can also adjust the view by sliding our finger up and down in case we wanted to see more of the curve or more higher. Now the brightness adjustment is on the other side. If I slide my finger up and down, we can adjust the brightness. On the right hand side we have the time and the date, and on the left hand side we have a red blinking dot that shows us that we are recording, and it tells us the resolution that we are recording at. Then on the bottom we have a compass, which is nice, and then we also have a miles per hour indicator. So that's a nice convenient summary of what's going on in the dash cam. But how about the front view? Well, if I swipe on the screen, I can see the front view, and this allows me, if I wanted to tweak the camera in the front and further adjust the view to make sure it captures everything. But you can see just how much the front view is capturing. So it's not going to take much adjustment, if not any adjustment, and you're always going to have pretty much an entire coverage of whatever is happening in front of the vehicle. And if I swipe one more time, we have a split view with the rear on the right hand side and the front on the left left-hand side. However, if for some reason you wanted to flip those, we can switch the screen one more time, and now we have the rear on the left-hand side, and then we have the front on the right-hand side. Tapping on the screen brings up a menu in the bottom, and I'll start with this icon right here, which is the microphone. I can temporarily turn that off if I want to tell my best friend a secret and I don't want nobody to find out, but I'm going to turn the audio recording back on. Then on the next one is going to be for the settings of the dashcam, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And the next icon is the play icon, and this allows us to play back the videos that have been previously recorded by the dashcam. And as you can see, they are organized into different folders, which makes finding the right video fairly easy. The next icon is this little exclamation icon, and what that does is it flags the video that is currently being recorded. Let's say we saw something happen in front of us, something that did not hit our car, but something that we want to save. Perhaps somebody got robbed and I want to have that video flagged so I can find that later. By pressing that exclamation icon, we have flagged that video, and it's going to be very easy to locate that video later. We can also choose to take a picture. This might be convenient if for some reason you see a car and you want to take a picture of the license plates. And we also have this little square. Now what that square does, if you notice, now we are not longer recording. This is convenient if for some reason you wanted to stop the recording and you wanted no evidence of where you've been. And you can always resume the recording by pressing that button one more time. Notice how the red dot is blinking again. But let's look at the parking assist feature. As you can see, we are seeing the front camera of the vehicle. Well, notice what happens when I put the car in reverse. The view automatically changes towards the back camera, and it shows parking assist lines, which is helpful for us to be able to park and not hit the curb. Now, to enable this function, we do have to connect one additional wire to the rear taillights of our vehicle, and that allows the dashcam to sense when you put the car in reverse. You can also see that the guidelines in here are adjustable, so we can change between 3 different presets, and we can also change how the view is shown. If for some reason we do not like that zoomed in view, we can have this zoomed out view, and we can also adjust the lines right here. And here's another interesting feature of the parking assist. This is the rear view, and notice what happens when I put the car on reverse. It changes to the rear view, but it also remembers the position I left the rear view at, the parking assist view. So in this case, the parking assist view, I left that lower because I want to see more of the curve, but when I return the car to D, you can see that it changes back to the rear view, but it's a higher view, which is better for me, so I can see the cars that are coming behind me versus the other view that is more aimed towards parking the car. But now let me show you the settings of the dash cam. And the very first setting is gonna be the resolution. As you can see, we are recording the front at 4K and the rear at 2.5K. However, we choose to downgrade that in 2.5K front, 2.5K rear, and that would allow us to fit more video into our camera. Let's also talk about the G sensor. This dashcam automatically is gonna sense if your car gets hit in a car crash and automatically flag that video because it knows that you got into a car crash. And here's where you can tell the dashcam how sensitive that sensor should be. If I set this too high, anytime I close the door or a car with a loud exhaust passes by, the dashcam is gonna think I got into a car crash. So I usually leave this in low, and that seems to work out okay for me. And this dashcam also has a screen timeout feature. I always have this feature off because I always want to have my display on, but if you wanted to have that display off, turn off after a specific amount of time, you can select that. The dashcam keeps recording, this is just the screen that turns off. But let's also talk about the rear image adjustment. This allows me to flip the rear image like this, or also like this, so either vertically or horizontally, and this is helpful to correct for any weird positioning that we may have placed the rear camera on. If we place that upside down or very low on the car, we can correct for that in here. And you can see that the menu is very clean, very responsive actually, and pretty straightforward. This I really like, daylight savings time. If you live in a place that changes the time very often like I do in California, I can adjust and correct for that 1 hour change just by turning that on or off. And here's an interesting feature of this dashcam. It does have a fatigue reminder, so we can tell this dashcam to tell us every 2 hours to take a rest. And you may have noticed that there is no mention on parking mode on this menu. And the reason for it is that this dashcam does support it. However, we need to have the optional hardwire kit in order for us to enable that functionality. Now, this is common on most dashcams. You are gonna need to hardwire that in order to enable the parking mode. But one of the most interesting features of this dashcam is that it does not have a battery built in. Some dashcams have a tiny little battery, but that battery eventually will die because of the heat of being inside of a vehicle all the time. This is one of the first mirror dashcams, if not the only one that I've seen out there, that has a capacitor instead of a battery. A capacitor does not degrade like the way a battery does, and it should technically last longer or not require replacement like a battery does. But now that I showed you all the features of this dashcam, let's take it out on the road so we can take a look at some test drive footage. And that was the REDTIGER T27 mirror dashcam. Now, as you saw, this dashcam has several interesting features, such as the ability to run 4K and 2.5K at the same time. Some dashcams do advertise high resolutions, but if you want to run them both at the same time, they won't let you. Either you run it really high in the front and low in the back, but this one does let you the ability to run high in the front and high at the back on the same time. Now, the fact that this has a capacitor, I think, is also advantageous because, as I said earlier, the battery is never going to need to replace because it has a capacitor, not a battery. However, the dashcams that do have a battery have the ability to have parking monitor without hardwire. Limited parking monitor, not full-time, it's limited. So I would say that if you're planning on hardwiring the dashcam, this is gonna make sense for you to have a capacitor on board. But if you don't wanna hardwire your dashcam to the vehicle and wanna have some kind of parking monitor feature, even if it's on a limited functionality, you might wanna consider a dashcam that has a battery instead. Just remember that battery eventually will degrade and you will lose that ability to have parking monitor without hardwire when it's working off a battery. And if you guys have any other questions regarding the REDTIGER T27 mirror dashcam, please put that in the comments down below. Remember, I also placed a link in the description to this dashcam if you want to look at it further or acquire one for yourself. And in case you're curious about the actual installation process, I have made a very detailed video step by step on how mirror dashcams are installed. I'll put a link to that video in the description also. If you found any part of this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more cool car gadgets and other dashcams for your vehicle coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.